Welcome back, y'all. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. Originally, this video was going to be about all the new leaks coming out for the new update until this one leak came out over the weekend that caused so much chaos in the community, and I just really wanted to talk about it because it's making me so annoyed. Honestly, not even annoyed, more like disappointed and tired. And if I'm tired, imagine how the devs feel. And I'm sure some of y'all get that feeling as well, just feeling like the community can be so draining sometimes, specifically for the players who tend to be on social media. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I decided to make a video about this situation because the devs had to address it since it was getting out of hand. Even though the announcement was good news for most players, I'm more concerned about the mistreatment that the devs are going through. Before we start, please make sure to be respectful in the comments. I know a lot of people feel differently about the situation, but like I always say, please remember to be constructive with your criticism. With that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the first section. So for those of you who don't know, whenever there's a new update around the corner, the devs start posting a bunch of new sneak peeks on social media during the weekends. This past weekend, we got some sneak peeks for a new post pack that's coming out. We also got a sneak peek for Enchanted Izzy's new code, a new trailer that shows a set coming to the game called Very Rich Girl, and then on Sunday, we got the biggest sneak peek of all. Zach sent out a tweet that said, "Okay, the sneak peek is back on track, but consider it a massive announcement today." And then he posted on the official Dress to Impress account a sneak peek of a new Gamepass coming to the game. Introducing Accessory Adjustment Gamepass, coming in the Petal update. Do some accessories not fit the way you want them to? Now with the Accessory Adjustment Gamepass, you can change the position, rotation, and scale of your desired accessory. That's not all though. We know you love to layer hair, so the Accessory Adjustment Gamepass will also work with hair. Let's have fun creating so many new outfits. The tweet also included a video showing how the Gamepass would work, and y'all, I'm gonna be so for real, when I saw this I was gagged. I remember mentioning this back in the wishlist video I made in January, or in another video, I don't remember, but I've always wanted them to add a feature like this. Now I personally was mentioning it for the makeup, but this is amazing as well, and maybe in the future they'll add it for makeup also. I also want to mention how talented the devs are. I know this probably took so much time and maybe even nights of not sleeping to get it done, but they were able to make it a reality. Now before we get into the mess, I did see a lot of people very excited about this Gamepass because in reality this is something that I think everybody's been wanting for a while. With that being said, a lot of people had a problem with it being a Gamepass, which I'm gonna be honest, I agree. Now when I first found out it was a Gamepass, I wasn't freaking out about it or anything like that. It was just like, oh okay, I guess I can get it at some point. But the way people were tweaking out on social media over this being a Gamepass is insane. And y'all are not gonna believe me when I say this, but somebody started a petition to have it not be a Gamepass.
You know what it never was? That serious. It was never that serious.
I swear, I'm not kidding. I saw it on Reddit and I was unable to take a screenshot before the person deleted it, but I was shook. And don't get me wrong, I love signing petitions. I stay signing them to be honest, especially if it's for a good cause. But for a Gamepass, I'm like, what are we doing? I also saw people saying how they were worried that the feature would allow players to make inappropriate outfits, or that the devs are gonna use this Gamepass as an excuse not to fix glitches in the game. Honestly, it's a lot, y'all. So let's go ahead and move on to the next section so we can go over what the community had to say and also discuss how the community has gotten worse over time. While looking on social media, I was able to find a bunch of different comments regarding the Gamepass. I was able to find some that actually provided constructive criticism, so I'll go ahead and read those before I get into the negativity. One person tweeted, "I love this, but I feel like this should definitely be a free feature, especially considering in main game we don't really even have the time to do this much. But I'll probably still try to save for this for when it comes out." That's one thing that I didn't think about at first. We do only have a little bit of time to work with, but I think it'll still come in handy. And once you get used to using the tool, it'll be way easier to get it done. Another tweet says, "This is a major feature. I don't think that it should be locked behind a paywall." I also pulled a few comments from a community post I made asking everybody how they felt about the Gamepass. Actually, Najam commented, "I feel like the accessory adjustment should have been a feature rather than a Gamepass. I don't know. Like, did we really need this behind a paywall? And with what it's offering, it seems like like it might cost more than the other Game Passes since it offers a lot more in terms of its options, but let's wait and see. I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw that this was a Game Pass, I did think it'd be like maybe 1,000 Robux. But to be honest, I feel like DTI has been very generous with the pricing for Game Passes, so I don't know. Nut4444 commented, I think it's cool, but I feel like this really shouldn't be a Game Pass. Like, being able to scale your items should be just as free as using a color wheel or patterns. I have mixed feelings about it. I am happy we're finally getting scaling tools regardless though. Melon Lime 4687 commented, Punk, if I'm being completely honest, I feel like this will overcomplicate the game and be too much of an advantage to those without the Game Pass. I'm really not sure how I feel about this, but if we know anything about DTI, they'll somehow make it work. And Stellar Sea Cows commented, I'm super disappointed that you have to pay for it since it should be a base game feature, but I feel like the people saying this is pay to play are being a little silly. DTI is always skilled based. This seems a little too complex for outfits outside of free play anyway. Personally, I feel like it'll still come in handy in competitive rounds, especially if I'm wearing that blazer, you know, the one that clips through literally every shirt except the t-shirt. I don't know, but I know it's gonna come in handy for me at least. Overall, I feel like a lot of people had constructive criticism and they weren't being hateful towards the devs, but there's something about Twitter and Reddit that just makes people act up. There's a tweet I found that said, this literally should not be a Game Pass, y'all are greedy as heck. Someone else tweeted, Game Pass, yeah, this game will be gone by the end of the year.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
And then of course we have this comment. It probably should be free. You sure have lots of free-to-play players, and this is starting to feel like roll high.
Now why am I in it? And you could have did it. See?
And then there's this post off of Reddit. It's titled, Anyone else leaving because of the greed and disrespect? Genuinely disappointed. First it was making the map huge and implementing the walk faster pass, then the dolls, and now a Game Pass just to move items. Let's be 100% real, this game is pay to win. Most of us didn't mind that, so we used our own real money to buy multiple Game Passes. However, it comes to a point. What's even more disgusting is players who are giving feedback on the subject on the official Discord are being called broke, whiny, hard to please, or rude by the mods, while as players are being respectful. I genuinely cannot fathom calling players who bought multiple Game Passes broke. However, I'm not surprised as any type of criticism to the game on the server was quickly dismissed or pushed over. Okay, so I have no clue what happened in the Discord server, but just based off how this post reads, I feel like I understand where the mods are coming from, because this person's saying they're being respectful in the chat, but the tone of this post is not giving that vibe at all. I would like to believe that the mods wouldn't go in there calling people broke, but just based off what I saw on social media, I'm sure players in the Discord were acting up too. And based off the announcement that Zach made on the Discord, basically proves my point. A day later, after all the backlash, Zach sent out an announcement that said, we wanted to firstly start off by saying a big thank you to everyone who shared their constructive feedback with us yesterday. We are always willing to listen to constructive feedback. Unfortunately, especially online, it can be hard sometimes to know the difference between people being genuinely concerned and people just being nasty, because there's always a loud minority of people who are always mad about any decision we make. Sometimes we naturally do feel like we know what's best for the future of the game and hope that you'll put your trust in us. But in this occasion, we do feel the feedback we have received is completely valid. For that reason, we've decided that the accessory adjustment will no longer be a Game Pass. Instead, it'll be free, unlockable feature that is accessible by all players. We do want to take a moment to ask that when you do send your thoughts, we are human beings. We're not robots or AIs, we're real developers, real humans with real feelings, working on a project we feel passionate about. Some of the extremely personal, insulting messages we received have left us feeling very demotivated and honestly quite sad. We really do want to hear your feedback, we really do care, but it's very hard to sift through some of the nasty things we have seen in order to get the genuine constructive criticism. Please try to remember that we're people too. Honestly, when I first saw this post, I felt really bad because the feature itself is actually so cool cool, and I know it took them a lot of time to do. And of course, people got upset that it wasn't accessible to all players, but it's so disappointing to see how the community reacts to things like this. Now, I do want to say I did find a lot of supportive tweets once this post went out, but the one that stuck out to me said this: "It's sad how negativity is so acceptable to many these days. And despite how easy it is to be respectful and kind, some people just don't understand what it's like to be on the receiving end of the meanness and perpetuate it. You put so much effort into your work. Stay awesome." Alright y'all, let's go ahead and move on to the last section where I'll go ahead and give my thoughts on the community and how I feel about it overall. So I've been making DTI videos since August of last year, I believe, and back then I felt like the community was really chill and the vibes were just different. But as the months went on, I realized the community got worse and worse and continues to get worse. Of course, I don't mean everybody, but it almost feels like anytime I read anything regarding the game, it's always a complaint or somebody being super toxic, or sometimes even just gross, and it's like, what are we doing? And I know there's gonna be people being like, oh well, it's probably children commenting those mean things, but I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure a lot of it's also teenagers and adults, basically people who should know better. And I always talk about constructive criticism, how you can give your opinions, you just have to know how to word it without sounding mean-spirited or just rude, and also trying your best not to let your negative feelings take over. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like I haven't had my moments, but I usually try my best to be respectful. One thing I'm not gonna do is harass a developer. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy they made the change for it to be just a feature instead of a game pass. I don't know y'all, I just don't like the idea of the negativity winning. Basically, I don't want toxic players to feel like they have all this power, because in situations like this, they're literally like, oh look, it actually worked, being annoying. Let's do it again and again and again. I guess I'm just worried that the community is gonna embrace being toxic, and then we're not gonna have the same type of environment anymore. I also feel like eventually the devs might feel like they'll just give up on the community. Like they might not want to give sneak peeks anymore, not wanting to interact with us online. Basically no more communication because of the negativity. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below how you feel about this issue. Are you happy it's no longer a game pass, or did you actually want it to be a game pass? Also, what's your opinion on the community? Do you feel like it's gotten worse, or have you not noticed any changes? Okay, bye, see you in the next one. Bye, okay, bye, see you, bye.